What is up? What is up? What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope you all are having a fantastic day. Yeah, hopefully y'all day is up to a great start because we have another edition of what are we calling this thing? The QLS morning show or something like that. I don't know what we calling this thing, but let me know if y'all have suggestions in the chat. Let me know if y'all have suggestions. Um, Technically, I am sick right now, but I feel good at this exact moment, and so I'm like, you know what? Let's roll with this stream. Let's roll with this stream. Okay. So in this stream, we're going to talk about a couple things. We got three things specifically on the agenda. And then if you all have other things you want to talk about, we can go through that. Number one, we are going to talk about Angel Reese because yesterday something happened to her wrist. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what we know so far and how this may or may not affect the Rose in their playoff hunt. I will also talk about UConn and how they once again, I mean, surprise, surprise, won the Big East tournament and how maybe they just need to leave the Big East. Maybe. Just maybe. I'm just a thought. Just a thought. Because they're just a little bit too good, you know. And then we'll finish off talking about Vanessa Blair Lewis, a coach who needs to be on your radar. She has she's moving mountains at George Mason, and yeah, definitely want to let you all know about her. But we first start with the headline story, and that is Angel Reese. So let me tell you a story about Angel Reese. So yesterday, Angel Reese, she plays for Team Rose for Unrivaled, and Rose was playing vinyl. Rose was killing vinyl, and to start the game, per usual, not much to be said other than total domination, where basically Vinyl was trash and Chelsea Gray was absolutely dominating, right? In this game, surprise, as usual, Angel did start. She ended up getting a double-double. However, in the first half, Angel played with no wrist strap. There was no wrist. It wasn't really a wrist strap. It seemed like it was made of tape. So there was nothing on her wrist at the first half. During the first quarter and the second quarter, nothing on Angel's wrist. In the second half, it started the third quarter, when she came, because she started the second half, when she came in, I was like, oh, what's that on her wrist? It looked like what was, it looked like a wrist strap. And I was like, okay, how you doing, Angel? No real mention of it. No real mention of whatever could be happening with her wrist. And then we ultimately see Angel exit the game midway through the third quarter. She goes to the bench as Ray Stevens comes to the game. But instead of, us seeing Angel on the bench, Angel ended up moving to the locker room. She was on the bench for a hot second and then went up and went to the locker room, and we didn't see her from there. And then at the end of the game, Team Rose, they usually post the Coach Nola giving a rose to the player who played the best or whatever. She gave it to Brittany Sykes, but in the locker room, we didn't see Angel there. I believe Chelsea Gray asked a question about, was Angel's people outside or like whatever. Like she was asked some random question, but like Angel was not in the locker room. She was not in the locker room as they were sort of giving out the rose of the day type of thing. And it led to a lot of, okay, so Angel enters the game with no wrist strap. At the start of the third quarter, she has a wrist strap on her. What could be going on? Is she okay? And honestly, the answer is we don't know. We don't know. Okay? We do not know specifically what is wrong with Angel. We do know that it affects the same wrist that she just had surgery on. If you all do not remember, Angel did suffer a hairline fracture at the end of last season for the Chicago Sky. So that was like in like September or something like that. So she had that, ended up not finishing out the season with the Sky, got surgery, was on the bench, hanging out with her wrist strap, her wrist brace, I should say. And you know, she was out for a couple weeks due to that. And there was a thought of like, okay, well, what is happening? What is happening? No one's talking about it. Kendra Andrews ended up asking about it, asking Nola Henry about it, and Nola was like, "Yeah, we don't have a update, you know, but we will have one soon about what's going on with Angel Reese." So we don't know specifically what happened to that wrist, but we do know it's the same exact wrist. All right, and because of how active Angel is, you know, that could kind of, you know, lead to injuries like this, right? Because Angel's everywhere. She's constantly moving. She's constantly, attacking the rim, constantly like battling for boards. And it's not a crazy surprise that she has gotten hurt. However, this does suck though, like severely. Because number one, she made it the whole season so far through Unrivaled, getting better and better and better, and just playing healthy. And seemingly for yesterday to happen, which again, to confirm, we still do not know specifically what is going on with Angel. We do know that she started the game without a wrist brace, had a wrist brace for the third quarter, ended up leaving the bench area and going to the locker room early, and as of right now, no update on what is happening to her. So hoping for the best. As a Sky fan, we need Angel, and just as a fan in general, like, no one wants anybody hurt. Like, we just don't, right? Especially in Unrivaled, you don't want anybody hurt, okay? So we'll ultimately see what happens, but that is the update, is that Angel is maybe out, maybe question mark. We'll ultimately see what happens from here, and I'm assuming we'll probably get an update in the next couple of days. I would not expect an update today. I wouldn't expect an update today, but we'll ultimately see what happens from here. Also, guys, if y'all could please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button for the channel, guys. I'm doing these like morning show briefings or whatever. Is it a morning show? I don't know. I'm live and it's morning, so I don't know. Anyway, if y'all have a suggestion for what we should call this, let me know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Tulip says, I think she may be out for the rest of Unrivaled, but should be back for the start of the W. I hope so. I mean, the Unrivaled playoffs is literally just 2 days. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if she's out for that. But my hope is that she is good to go for the WNBA. So yeah, we'll see. Shamika says, I'm okay with her being out for the remainder of the Unrivaled season. Yeah, me too. Me too. Let's see. Carmela says, I hope Angel didn't damage her arm too bad. I hope not. Shamika says, Lunar Owls will win anyway. They will. I mean, yes, Chelsea Gray is killing them. Like, Chelsea Gray is doing her thing for Unrivaled, but that's no match. That is no match for the Lunar Owls, who once again absolutely embarrassed the Mist yesterday. That was really, really shameful for her team missed 29 points for Nafisa Collier. She was almost perfect from the field. She just was absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. Okay. Truth says Angel didn't even post on Instagram. Not sure how bad it is. Yeah. See, when I woke up this morning, I was like, okay, I need to check in and see if Angel posted anything. Did she post anything? I checked her TikTok. I checked her Instagram. I checked her Twitter. Nothing. So I'm not sure what's going on, because usually she be posting. So hopefully she is okay. I hope so. Because yeah, not good. Not good at all. Not good. Let's see. Frank says up your wake with Quita. I don't get it. Like you're awake? I don't. It may be too early for me to understand that one. Oh man. Coach says you need to add a unrivaled basketball to your setup. Yeah, I do. I need to first get a unrivaled basketball. But yeah. Carmelo says morning recap, sunrise with Quita, wake up with Quita, morning shake up. Yeah. I like the sunrise thing. Anyway. Again, put your suggestions in the chat. Okay. So, we have talked about Angel Reese, and again, we don't have any confirmed information as of right now, but I assume we'll find something out in the next couple of days. I mean, we kind of have to, because the unrivaled playoffs are basically here, because we have already hit the end of the season. Okay, next up, we move on over to UConn. The UConn Huskies have, once again, surprise, have won another Big East championship. And to be honest with you guys, I'm just wondering, at what point is UConn either gonna leave the Big East, or the Big East actually gonna get good enough to compete with UConn? Because this is the 12th straight year that UConn has won their conference title. At some point, somebody has to be able to do something. Like, I just, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am not a fan of just one team dominating. Like, this is the 23rd time ever that UConn has won the Big East, right? And y'all remember they were in the ACC they were in the Big East, went to the ACC, now they're back in the Big East, right? And so this is one of those things where it's like, okay, y'all are fantastic. Y'all really are. Y'all are a fantastic team with fantastic players and all that other stuff. However, this is just crazy. This is just crazy. 5th consecutive title in the Big East, because remember, they were in the ACC, so like that's why that 12 consecutive includes part of the ACC in there. But 5th consecutive in the Big East. This is a team that is 31-3 on the season. And you know, Creighton tried, but ultimately it is what it is. Okay. Once again, Paige Buckets did her thing. Here's the deal. Here's the deal that I thought was actually pretty cool. So, Paige Buckers in this game scored a crazy efficient 24 points in this one. Now, it's one of those things where, you know, Paige Buckers is at her best when she is doing the full trifecta of her game, right? She's at her best when she is playing some defense, blocking some shots, right? She's at her best when she is knocking down a mid-range to get into the bucket. She's at her best when she's knocking down three-point shots and when she is getting her teammates involved. And yesterday, she did a little bit of everything, okay? She didn't need to dominate, but she did enough to just show that, yeah, she is the top dog in the Big East. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks for the woman known as Paige Beckers. All right, let's continue on. Okay, so let's have this conversation. Let's have this conversation about the domination of UConn and what that means for the Big East. What that means for college basketball, all that good stuff. Yeah. So here's the deal. We have seen UConn in the Big East for a long time. Right? We have seen them in there for a long while. And actually, correction, guys. I actually believe I was actually correction. The UConn Huskies, they were in the Big East. Then they joined the American Athletic Conference, not the ACC, the AAC. And then they went back to the Big East. So, sorry about that. The AAC, not the ACC. Little confusing, but there you go. Okay. So let's talk about the Big East and let's talk about UConn. Now, this is not UConn's fault that they are the best, right? This is not their fault. However, as a fan of competitive basketball, as a fan of not seeing one team absolutely dominate, I am not a fan of what we are seeing, right? Because literally, no one really has a chance at all against UConn. Okay? And I don't really see that stopping. Creighton did their best, right? Villanova sometimes is making some noise as well, right? I love to see it. However, UConn is still the top dog, and I don't see anybody beating UConn for the next, I don't know, for the next like 5 years. You know? As long as Gino is still at UConn, like I just don't see them ever losing. Right? I don't see it happening. At the top of the Big East right now, you got UConn number 1, of course, 18-0 on the season. You got Creighton, you got Seton Hall, you got Marquette, and you got Villanova. And this is one of those things where that ain't changing anytime soon. It's just not. And it's one of those things where like you never know. Anybody can get got. We all know that. Anybody can always get got. However, what do you expect? What do you expect? Because yeah, Paige Beckers is leaving after this season, but you still have the awesomeness of Sarah Strong, who is just continuing to hone into her own when it comes to her game. And I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. I love to see like the individual play of UConn, but I'm just like, man, at some point, somebody has to take them down at some point. At some point. Because again, it's not fun. It's literally not. It's like y'all remember when I mean they just lost now, but like a lot of people couldn't stand Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs, because Kansas City Chiefs kept ending up in the Super Bowl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people was very happy that they lost, right? That Philadelphia won this year for the Super Bowl, but like no one necessarily likes the same team being on top. People didn't like the Patriots when the Patriots just kept winning, right? You know, people outside of Chicago didn't necessarily like the Bulls when Michael Jordan kept winning everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, come on, let's get it a little bit more competitive, right? Let's get it a little bit more competitive. But I don't see it stopping. I really don't. I really don't. Also, if you all are curious in terms of who's won the most in the Big East, well, of course it's UConn. But before UConn rejoined the Big East in 2020, DePaul won. Probably didn't know that. You know, DePaul in 2018, DePaul won the Big East championship. They won it in 2019. They won it in 2020, and then when UConn rejoined the Big East, UConn won it from there on out. So there you go. There you go. The Big East is only relevant because of UConn. That's it. Okay, that's why they're relevant. Kentucky Rick says, I volunteered Texas to move to the Big East. Oh, man. Nancy says, used to be Tennessee did that in the SEC for years. Facts. Yeah. Back in the day, yeah. Tennessee owned the SEC. But again, that's because they had Pat Summitt. After Pat Summitt, nah. And that's what I'm saying about Geno. Like, I really do think that, like, once Geno retires, I think that's when we'll see the sea change. I think that's when we'll see it. Even if he has a hand-picked selection. Like, because I believe, what's her name? Holly Warwick, I think that was her name. She was handpicked by Pat Summitt as the head coach of Tennessee to take over. Let me just Google her name. I think I am remembering that right. Holly Warwick. Let's see. Yeah, it was her. Yeah. So yeah, Pat Summitt handpicked her, but she couldn't get the job done. She couldn't win because you couldn't get the necessarily the same recruits, right? You couldn't necessarily get get people to believe in Tennessee without Pat Summitt, and then ultimately, we see what happened. All right. Faye says, not true, Quita. What's not true? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's not true. Paige will be gone. Yeah, I didn't say Paige is staying. I said Paige is leaving after the season's over. I don't know what you mean. Don't know what you mean. Nancy says Holly was the lady in waiting. I don't think UConn will have a current coach set up. I believe it will be Shay, who was internal, then took over the own a program. Okay. Let's see. Troy says no one hates South Carolina because they aren't the standard. UConn is the standard, and like Quita said, no one likes the team who always wins, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, it just, it's how it is. Like, it's one of those things where, like, honestly, that's how we are as people. Truly. Like, would you like it even if like, would you like it if the same team always won and, like, no one ever had to think about it? It just wasn't a thought. They're just like, okay, they're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win. It doesn't matter. It doesn't actually matter what exactly happens. They're so much better that, like, regardless of who's injured, regardless of what happens, you just know, like clockwork, that UConn is going to win the Big East. Now, will they win? Will they lose some of their other, some of their non-conference games? Yeah, they might. But will they win the Big East? Yes. And yeah, it's just, it is what it is. Anyway, I do want to move on. I do want to move on because we are, I'm getting a little bit long-winded here because y'all know I just like to randomly keep talking. And yeah, it's not great. Okay, so we talked about Angel Reese and her wrist. We talked about UConn and once again and them owning the Big East. But I do have to give a quick shout out to Gino Auriemma, who has won 30 conference tournament championships. 30. In the total of his career, 30. Crazy. And all 30 of his championships is all 30 of UConn's championships. He is the man, single-handedly, he is the man responsible for the success of UConn. All right, we'll see. We will see what happens in the NCAA tournament. But another team who is making it to the NCAA tournament, and a team that you all need to know, is George Mason. Okay? Now, over the weekend, George Mason made history, clinching their first ever A10 championship. And the thing that made this very, very special was because, again, this is the first ever and their first ever NCAA tournament berth. All right. So George Mason is a team that, not known for women's basketball at all. Right. Never was really good in the A10, but they have a new coach. She's been getting better and better and better and better as the seasons have gone on. And I specifically want to talk about this. So, they won the A10, lots of celebration, lots of confetti, because, it's a cool story of resilience of this team to, like, go from not even winning 10 games a week or 10 games a year to all of a sudden 20 plus wins, winning their conference. But there is a story inside the story. And this is actually specific to their head coach, Vanessa Blair Lewis. She has been someone who has been transforming how the Patriots have been playing since she joined the program in 2021. Because, guys, I want to kind of give y'all a little brief history around the A10 and around George Mason, because George Mason was a terrible squad in terms of their record. Of course, the players played hard. They did as much as they could, but they were terrible. This was a terrible team. In the 2019 and 2020 season, George Mason was 9 of 21 on the season. In conference, they only won 3 games, lost 13 games in that season. But then they get a new coach. They get a new coach in Vanessa Blair Lewis, who has steadily taken this team that barely won. And in 2020 through 2021, right? George Mason won 3 games that year. 3 games, 19 losses. 0 conference wins. 0. She takes over the program. And how in the world she takes this team that won 0 conference games a couple of years ago, right? 0. 4 seasons ago. Now, all of a sudden, George Mason this season was 14-4 in conference play. 27-5 overall, and they just won the A10 tournament. So it's an amazing story. Shout out to Ashley for the super chat. I really do appreciate your super chat so much. Thank you so much for your support. It's crazy how she took a team that was severely struggling, and brought them to a championship. She helped to increase their season total every single year, guiding them to their best season in over a decade, and helping to put them on notice in the A10. But truly, what makes this accomplishment remarkable, what makes this championship remarkable, is that Coach Blair Lewis, while she was coaching up a storm, while she was getting this team good, she's been dealing with some family health issues, right? As the confetti was falling, Vanessa Blair Lewis's dad was in hospice. And she talked about that post game, and like, it's how she was able to compartmentalize that, and like the level of dedication, sort of balancing her personal heartbreak while leading a team to new heights. It speaks volume about her character. You know, a lot of times coaches talk about perseverance. They talk about, instilling toughness in their players, about handling adversity, and they're usually talking to their players. But Vanessa Blair Lewis is living it. She's showing her team exactly what it means to stay committed, to fight through challenges, and to lead with both strength and grace. Because here's the deal, guys. Like, this is not an easy thing that she has been walking through at all. But she is someone who is a proven winner. Before coming to George Mason, she built Bethune-Cookman into a powerhouse, leading them to their first ever NCAA tournament and collecting 4 MEAC Coach of the Year awards. Everywhere she has gone, she has elevated programs, she has developed all-conference talent, she has instilled championship mentality, and this is the mentality that was on display this weekend in the ACC Tournament Championship. George Mason dominated in the game, beating St. Joseph's, pulling away in the third quarter. And, it was over from there. It was over from there. The lead scorer was Paula Soares, who dropped 23 points in that game. And ultimately, George Mason does the thing that they have never done. And while we talk about all the big schools, and that's important, it's great. Let's talk about the big schools. Let's talk about the big tournaments. Let's talk about the big programs. Sure. But the thing I love about March is that we get stories like this. Stories like this that you may not even hear. You may see one Twitter post about it. Like you may see one thing about it, but people don't really talk about it because but this is what makes March Madness sweet. It is the resilience. It is the heartbreak. It is the determination that these band of individuals have. They come together as a team, and whatever is happening, they go through the challenge together. And it's just, yeah. When I saw a video about Coach Blair Lewis talking about her dad after the game, and I was just like, whoa, dang, how in the world, were you able to get through that while coaching at an excellent level? Like, that's some determination. And these are stories that we see all the time, right? In March, resilience, belief, unwavering commitment. And ultimately, George Mason does something that they have never done before. Get to the A10. tournament championship and actually win it. The confetti was falling. Everybody was so excited. And this team has done something that they can be proud of for years and years and years to come because they made history. So we will see George Mason in the NCAA tournament. And when you see that name, regardless of who they play, when you see that name go through, know that that team, yes, has fantastic players, but they have a also fantastic coach. So that is kind of the thing I want to talk about. I love stories like this. Like truly, like stories like this is like, it's March, man. Like this is the time for it. This is the time for it. Aubrey, thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. Says, Quita, this year the tournament is most definitely up for grabs. There aren't any clear-cut favorites. I agree with that. I agree. The NCAA tournament is going to be wild. And you all can expect teams getting got. You all can expect, things to not go as you think it'll go. Because, there is no clear-cut favorite. There's, like, 4 teams, in my opinion, that could win the title. Actually, not 5. There's 5 teams. And I'll go through that tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow's morning live stream. The 5 teams I see as the top dogs for the championship. So anyway, that is the stream. I do want to thank you all so much for joining me. I'm trying to keep these things pretty short, but every single morning, you all can hop on right here on this channel and rock out with me as we talk about some women's hoops every single morning. It's going to be a regularly scheduled morning show that you all can rock with. I'm going to work out some graphics. I'm going to make it look really cool. Like, yeah, I'm a rock out with it. I'm a rock out with it. Okay. So make sure y'all join me tomorrow morning, and then the morning after that, and then the morning after that. And again, let me know your thoughts in the comments if y'all have suggestions. Man, FaZe is a huge Paige Beckers fan because you just keep posting about Paige. We all know Paige is fantastic, FaZe. We all know that. Okay? We all know that. Get up early, Nancy. Get up early. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Be kind to people. Be nice to people. And rock out from there. I love you, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Happy Tuesday, everybody. See you soon.